Today we have a 2014 Toyota Camry. We'll be replacing the front axle hub bearing. So let's get the front wheel off and get it done. All right, so I'll be showing y'all the right passenger side. The procedure is the exact same on the left driver. I'm gonna start off by moving the outer tie rod here, number 17, with that cotter pin removed first, and I'm gonna strike the side with the hammer, freeing up this tie rod, and then we'll get to the next step. So now with this free, I'm gonna remove two more things. There's an ABS sensor right here, number 10. We're just gonna take this off and swing it to the side. And then we're gonna take off the brake caliper here. Two 17mm bolts, one on top, one at the bottom. And then we'll just slide it off and hang it up here. And then we'll get to the next step of removing the rotor. Now that the rotor's free, one of the things I love about Toyota is the fact that they give you these little holes to get the rotor out so you don't have to beat at it. So with a M8 by 1.25 bolt, I'm just gonna put these through here, one on each end, so you can get them out easily. And then I'll just go ahead and show you on the screen how to do this, because it's simple, but most people actually overlook it. So with a just gonna pop it in, and there we go. So let's get this out the way, and then with a number 12.30mm, we're gonna go ahead and just take this axle nut out. Now a little hint, because I know I've seen some comments in the past where people have an issue getting these off, like the axle spins, this and that, whatever. I normally use an impact and it comes right out, but right now I guess because it's rusted, having a little issue with the axle spinning with it. So what I do normally is I'll put a pry bar to counterbalance the spin and just hold down and let it hit my impact with it, and it normally comes right out. I mean, they also have a tool that holds it, like you put it on the studs here and whatever. I mean, pry bar does the same thing. So the axle nut's removed. But one more thing I like to do before I start getting this all off. So pretty much the instructions, they want you to actually remove this whenever you remove the sub-assembly for the hub bearing here, which is, you know, basically this part right here. Which the way I press it, this kind of gets in the way. Normally what I'll do is remove the 4 10mm around it first and then just yank it out. It's made out of metal, it's half moon, so it just bends, and then pretty much just bend it back into place. It's just a little heat shield. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this off first, and then we'll get to the next step. So here's that heat shield removed. As you can see, no damage done. I just literally kind of flex it a little bit just to pull it out. So there you go. So now with a number 17, I'm gonna remove the 2 nuts and the 1 bolt on the lower ball joint here. And then with a number 22 wrench in our socket, in our impact, we're gonna go ahead and take these 2 bolts off the strut. And then once that is done, this will be free. Go ahead and just push this back a little so you know it's free, nothing binding like rust inside or anything. And then just go ahead and pull the whole thing out. So now before we get to the fun part of removing the wheel bearing here, you gotta remove this dust cover. Pretty much all you do is just get a flathead and just kind of work the sides out. And just keep working around so it pops out. And then we'll get to the next step. So now with that dust cover removed, and also I did make a little mark just so when I go back in, pretty much when you go back in, you just tap it in. I just wanted to make sure it lines up with that the ABS sensor there. Anyway, so now with some snap ring pliers, we're gonna go ahead and remove the snap ring here and pretty much just pull it out, and then we'll get to the press and start getting this bearing out. Okay guys, so we're here on the press. Basically we're gonna press the sub-assembly out, aka, you know, this part right here, which is gonna be this inner portion right here. So what they actually want you to do is put this in a vise and use a slide hammer and pull that hub out, but no, we're not doing that. Forget that. This is the reason why I took off that heat shield, so I can get these 2 metal plates to sit evenly. You want as even as possible. And then with the 30mm socket here, which is the exact size of that, I'm just gonna go ahead and press it out and let it fall. All right, so 5 seconds later, I have this out now. And now we're gonna have to remove this part here, which is actually part of the bearing. It's the, I guess the outer race, they call it. Now what you're gonna have to use to get that out is a tool like this, which, you know, grabs it. Now some people will grab it from the bottom right here, but that doesn't work with this because this is a separate piece from this. What you're gonna wanna do is grab it right in that groove there. So once I grab that, I'm gonna put it on here and we'll press it out. Okay, so we have our tool all in place in that groove, pretty much all ready to go. I'm just gonna place this on here and just press it out, and then we'll get to our next step. Okay guys, so I've removed that other piece. Now we're back onto this point. So this is the wrong side that we're gonna press out, but I just want to give you a view of how I'm gonna do this next. So I have this old, like, huge bearing from another vehicle that literally is the exact size of that outer rim there. And the reason why I'm telling you about this is because I'm gonna set this on top of here in order to press out the next one, just so I have something to push against. So I'm gonna put this to the side real quick. So basically I'm gonna have it like that. And then setting this on top of this direction. Sorry, it's a little difficult with one hand. So I should just turn it off. So I'm gonna set it like that, pretty much. Even it up, but before we go ahead and next tell you what to do, so that piece we removed earlier from that sub-assembly there, is right here. We're gonna put it right back inside here. And the reason being is because that's what I'm going to use to push up against with a, let's see what size this is here. I don't even know what socket, I just got a big one. I guess a 40 millimeter. And pretty much it's the exact size of that part. And I'm going to use it to push out this bearing in here all the way through. So let's get this removed and then we can get to the next step. All right, so I believe this is free now. Yep. And there's the old bearing. And pretty much, just throw this away because I know I broke it. I probably could reuse this thing, but anyways, throw it to the side. And now our new bearing here. So what I like to do before I put these in there, I grease the hell out of this just to make my life easier. So I'm gonna grease this up, place it inside of here. Now this direction, because it goes in this direction, as you can see, you know, there's a groove in there, blah blah, whatever. So I'm gonna grease this up a little bit, make our life easier. Put it in like so. With that same 40 millimeter socket, we're just gonna press it in until we get it all the way down flush. And basically, you can tell when you get past a little groove or a snap ring right here. So, almost done, guys. Okay, guys, so we've got our new bearing pressed in there. You can see the groove is showing, so it's pretty much all the way in. So now we just gotta get the other part, this part installed. Now, I don't understand why it says this part either on the instructions, but they want you to pretty much just put this on a metal plate and press the whole thing onto it. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna risk, you know, messing up these wheel studs here. So what I'm gonna do is put a rotor down that I have from an old Toyota rotor I have laying around. Put that on so it sits flush on this instead of on the stud, and press it in. And I'll give you all a view once I get it all set up. Okay, so I have that on there with an old rotor. So now I'm pretty much just gonna place this on top of here, basically lining it up, and I did grease that one up as well. Same socket I've been using, and we're just pretty much just gonna press it all the way down so it sits flush, and then we'll go back and put the snap ring in. All right, so our snap ring is installed. Now I'm just gonna get this dust shield back on, basically line up with my little markings from earlier so that the ABS sensor sits unobstructed. So I'm just gonna give a little tap with my little mallet in place, and then we will go ahead and reinstall it in here. I'm gonna set it on the lower control arm first and then get it up in here. Obviously you wanna make sure that it sits with the splines here as well. Okay guys, so I went ahead and installed everything. The 2 bolts here, the 2 nuts, 1 bolt. You went ahead to the tie rod with the cotter pin here, and threw my heat shield on. Just slapped it in. But I wanted to show y'all one thing before we get to putting the rotor and brake caliper back on. With the axle nut, you're gonna wanna hit this part to lock it into place. All right, we've hit that to lock the axle nut, the caliper's in, the ABS sensor's in, everything's all bolted down, and we're done. So thanks for watching, y'all. The exact same thing, exact same procedure for the other side. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, more videos to come.